Okay, it's 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first inaugural Not Myself Today Community of Practice event. My name is Heather Logan, and my colleague Louise Stacy and I are going to be co-hosting this event today. And isn't it interesting? This is Mental Health Week. Talk about timing. In fact, this is our 70th annual Mental Health Week. Yes, 70, you heard it right. So we have been really focusing on the topic of mental health within the CMHA for many, many years. And what we're hoping is that you are utilizing the momentum of Mental Health Week to really engage your employees in learning more about mental health and mental illness in your workplace. Louise and I have been working with the program for many years and are very, very grateful to have a team of dedicated professionals who are there to create the content of our program. We are also blown away at the insight that our Not Myself Today clients can share with some of their creativity and experiences as well, which is why we decided to create this community of practice event. Today, you are all going to have an opportunity to tap in to some of the best practices of 3 Not Myself Today power users who are very excited to share their experiences with you. You're going to meet Doria from Icbc, you're going to meet Sylvie from the National Research Council, and you're going to meet Marie-Josée from the Office of the Auditor General of Canada. Each of them will be sharing a presentation about how they are utilizing Not Myself Today within their workplace. And after each presentation, it'll be followed by a couple of questions from you, the audience. So if you have questions as they arise, as our presenters are talking, just feel free to type them into the chat section of the webinar, and we will do our best to address as many of these questions as possible. As well, we plan to save 10 to 15 minutes at the end of our session for more Q&A. We're going to try and have this as an open mic, so if you want to ask a question of any of our panelists, just raise your hand on the GoToWebinar dashboard, and we will do our best to allow you to ask the questions that you want. At the end of our community of practice session, there will be a very short poll that we ask that you take and to share your feedback with us. We are planning on airing more of these community practice events, and we just want to get a sense for, was this helpful for you and what sort of frequency you would like to engage in this level of participation again. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our first speaker. Doria Mataviani is Icbc's Senior Wellness Advisor, where she leads, manages a very dramatic and dynamic profile aimed at designing and implementing programs and policies that enhance organizational health. Doria joined Icbc in December of 2019 with a very strong background in population and public health. And she holds a Master's of Public Health from UBC. Yay, great long-term Not Myself Today supporter, and has managed various regional, provincial, and national projects throughout the last 10 years, all aiming to lessen the burden of chronic diseases. So I'm going to introduce Doria to you now, and welcome.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Heather, for the introduction, and thank you to you and Louise for inviting me to speak today. I'm so privileged to be part of this Not Myself Today community, and I feel living through a pandemic and everyone being isolated and working this hybrid workforce, it creates a sense of purpose to know that there are like-minded colleagues out there as well to support. And I must say, as a public health nerd like myself, I'm loving and hating living through this pandemic as a social experiment, and I feel grateful, and it's a silver lining that well-being and mental health has been front and center in most organizations. So now I'm just going to give you a quick background on Icbc and our organization. So Icbc stands for Insurance Corporation of British Columbia. We are a provincial crown corporation that was established in the early 1970s, and we provide universal auto insurance to BC motorists. We are also responsible for driver licensing and vehicle licensing registration. So ICBC is one of BC's largest corporation and one of Canada's largest property and casualty insurers. So our insurance products and services are available through a province-wide network and offices of approximately 900 independent brokers, government agents, and appointed agents. And our offices and employees are distributed throughout the province, so creating some complexities when rolling out any programs. And during a normal year, or a non-pandemic year, we have over 40 active offices and over 5,000 employees. So we are considered a large organization. So before I get into the details of the deployment of Not Myself Today at ICBC, I want to provide you with an overview of the wellness strategy that we developed a few months ago after I joined ICBC. We really have three buckets of work that all aim to work in tandem to influence organizational health. So as you can see on the slide, we aim to increase awareness and education, act and support in a way to enhance organizational culture. And lastly, it is always important to be future focused so we can retain and attract top talent. What is super exciting is that the Not Myself Today program supports and resources for each of these sectors really fit well for ICBC. So on this slide, I want to talk about how we launched and deployed the Not Myself Today program. ICBC launched Not Myself Today digitally in September of 2020. However, the planning for deployment and getting buy-in from our leadership team and our executive team took months before that. So probably in June of 2020, we start the work for deployment and planning for that. We really focus on developing an implementation plan that is suited for ICBC and our population. We are a large organization, so you can just imagine the many demands and priorities that need to be identified before we can roll out a corporate-wide campaign such as this. After obtaining initial approval, I engaged with our internal communications and marketing team to create a deployment working group. They were truly my go-to to help me validate the implementation plan and to ensure sustainment of concepts and learnings for ICBC. With their institutional expertise, along with my subject matter expertise and Louise's support, we were able to create a learning path for ICBC. And that is when I truly pitched to our executive team. Of course, they were already familiar with the program and the reason why we needed to invest in this initiative. However, it was critical for them to know how this program is going to function and compete with business demands. I created a weekly learning path that took the concept of micro-learning to another level. A concept that is not, so if you go to the previous slide, sorry, Heather.
Sorry.
No worries. I created a weekly learning path that took the concept of micro-learning to another level. So when we look at a concept that is not the most tangible, such as mental health, this needs to be delivered in bite-sized pieces. So I always say we need to be comfortable to repeat key messages 7 different times in 7 different ways. And what was really great at ICBC is that at the start of the pandemic in about March, April, we started a weekly well-being newsletter called Wellness Wednesdays. I know it sounds super cheesy, but it works for our organization. So from March to September, our employees had already begun trusting this resource and engaging with the content. So we knew that we could easily piggyback on this internal resource for the deployment and sustainment of Not Myself Today. We started a pre-launch with sharing mental health teasers in our weekly newsletter and shared mental health stats to shift the focus on this issue. And then during the week of the launch, Not Myself Today basic messaging, so pretty much what the campaign is and what the resource is and why we are committed to do this work was shared everywhere. So from our executive team sending out messaging to our leaders, getting messaging that they can cascade down to their teams. And then also Wellness Wednesday newsletter, really focus on the why ICBC is committing to this initiative. And of course, our employee groups, they don't all have access to computers and view their emails regularly. So we capitalize on the TV screens that we have on our various offices to be able to share this messaging. And then after about 2 weeks that we launched, we shared an employee experience story. Our project team worked with an employee who was comfortable to share their mental health story and talk about the significance of Not Myself Today in the workplace. This article blew up, and our Not Myself Today engagement numbers went up significantly after sharing this article. We all need to remember that at first, the organization needs to get familiar with what Not Myself Today is alone and start learning to engage on the activities moving forward. So at the bottom of the screen, I'm just sharing how the different modules and activities and the resources embedded within Not Myself Today fit beautifully within the pillars of work that enhance organizational health at ICBC. Now on the next slide, I just want to really showcase all of the various resources and supports that are available at ICBC, and frankly say that the impact of Not Myself Today is not fully yet realized in our organization. It will truly take 3 to 5 years for it to fully get embedded in the system and in our way of thinking at ICBC. However, I feel for it to be 9 months into the program, a lot of our employee resource groups utilize the resources and activities for engagements within their initiatives. And I'm hopeful for it to continue in the years to come as well. On the next slide, I want to talk about at a high level the learning path that gets rolled out. So pretty much I'm rolling out each module as if they're their separate product or entity. So for instance, July being Self-Care Day within it is a very great time to focus on module 3 with regards to addressing stress and rolling out those resources for the organization. So you could really spread out the modules in a way that works for your organizations, coupled with health promotional days that are shared globally or nationally, and then make sure that it's relevant for employees. Lastly, I know we're all believers here, but I want to close with a few words that the work that we're doing truly makes a difference, but it's difficult to know the exact degree that it's making a difference. I always say that we won't know what would happen if we didn't roll out a program like Not Myself Today, especially in a year such as the last year that we had. The workplace is the center for employee disease prevention and management, similar to how the school system is great for our youth and our children to get this resources access to them. And then Not Myself Today is a great interactive support that can help us get to a healthier organization. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you so much, Dory, for all that you said. So I wrote down a few little notes when you were talking, and I love I love the way you had somebody share their story. I think it's really powerful, and it really does make a difference with empathy and compassion. And I also really loved the learning pathway and the micro learning. And I think it's been very successful for you. I like the way you did 7 times, 7 different ways. But what I'd like to ask you is, going forward, how do you drive digital engagement? How do you get people onto the portals on any particular day?
Absolutely. I think being a large organization like ICBC, the more we share messaging, the more we talk about this as a resource and embed it in our other lines of communication, then it's going to have a cascaded effect. So for instance, on Tuesday, you led a brief session with our employees, and right off after that, I got a few comments that they hadn't realized the breadth of resources that Not Myself Today has to offer. At the moment, we have about over 1,000 users, so we still have a ways to go. So I think similar strategies that we rolled out last year can still be continued moving forward, and repetition is key as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dory, for being with us.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you, Dory. And next I would like to introduce Sylvie Savage to you from National Research Council. Sylvie is the workplace wellness leader at the Security and Disruptive Technologies Research Center at National Research Council. She joined NRC in the fall of 2017 and initiated the workplace wellness journey in this role a few months prior to the start of the pandemic. I think we can all relate to that. Sylvie is a wonderful gal. She has a passion for wellness as an active advocate for mental health. Her exposure to mental health hits close to home as she has to navigate those waters on a daily basis to care for a dear loved one with mental health issues and suicidal ideation. A tough challenge that I'm sure many of us are faced with. And I would just like to welcome Sylvie to the mic.
Thank you, Heather and Louise. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this first initiative and panel. I'll just start with my first slide of who I am. If we can go to the next one. I am the administrative assistant. No, that one before. I'm the
Sorry,
administrative
Sylvie, there's a delay. So.
Oh, that's okay. There you go. I'm the admin assistant to the Director General at the Security and Disruptive Technologies Research Center. In short, it's called SDTech for the National Research Council. Before that, I worked in the private sector for 30 years before landing at the NRC about 3 years ago. How I got to work on workplace wellness. A few months before COVID pandemic hit, I was asked if I was interested in establishing and leading the workplace wellness in our research center, and little did I know how much impact mental health would have on everyone. Because I have a passion for mental health and wellness and for helping others, I agreed to take the bull by the horns and pretty much run with it. At the National Research Council, it's the primary national research and technology organization for the Government of Canada in science and technology. The branch, our branch, the Security and Disruptive Technology Research Center, is a division of the NRC where we do research in quantum photonics, cutting edge security materials, technologies, and attosecond science. Just to give you a short example, firefighters, the outfit that they wear, the suit that they have to wear, we create different types of materials so that it's still fireproof but lightweight for them because they have to carry so much. So those are the kinds of security material technology that we work with. And we have approximately 80 employees in that research center. The NRC has 4,300 employees. And the Security and Disruptive Technology Research Center, SDTech, is the client of Not Myself Today. And after doing my homework and looking into what Not Myself Today campaign offered, it was very clear to me that this was exactly the tool we needed. This initiative would help us build greater awareness and reduce stigma and foster a safe and supportive culture. The Not Myself Today offers great material, activities, tools, resources to help break down the barriers and make mental health accessible to all employees on their own terms. After receiving the virtual and the physical package and creating my own account on the portal, I felt completely overwhelmed. and like some of you, I'm sure, did not really know where to start or what to do next. All the information, the tools, the colors have got me scratching my head. Now what? I recommend you start slow. Take your time, log into the portal and explore. On the dashboard, you will find everything you need to get ready and run the program. You can launch the program by starting with any of the learning modules. However, there are a few steps that you may wish to do at first. The first one is engaging senior leadership. It's important to obtain commitment and buy-in from senior management, as their involvement signals to employees that mental health is a priority. Senior leadership need to walk the talk. As the SD Tech leader of this initiative, I needed the buy-in from senior management. Going at it alone would not get me very far. I needed support and engagement. I had brainstorming meetings with the Director General to come up with a plan as to where we go from here, how to better understand our audience, and what was the best way to get everyone engaged. The next step was to make presentations to the management team and then with our group leaders to educate them on the benefit of engaging with Not Myself Today, and again, to get their buy-in, support, and commitment. The Getting Ready page of the portal offers great tips on engaging senior leaders, as well as providing an already drafted briefing note and communication email template that you can use. All tools that I most definitely took advantage of. Now, recruiting ambassadors. Recruiting ambassadors is essential to run the Not Myself Today initiative. You can't go at it alone. We reached out to various divisions within our research center in order to obtain a diverse network of ambassadors. We currently have a representative from the Human Resources branch, the Communications branch, the research community, the management team, the business development group, the NRC Wellness Advisor, and myself. We then took that group and established the SD Tech Workplace Wellness Committee, where each ambassador is a member of the committee. At our first committee meeting, the ambassadors were provided with a brief overview of Not Myself Today, as well as a summary of an ambassador's role, responsibilities, and expectations. And to my great relief, no one ran away. And almost a year later, everyone is still on board and engaged even more than ever. As the initiative developed, we were able to get a few more ambassadors on board. So enthusiasm, hard work, accomplishments, and progress is contagious. How we roll out the plan. On our rollout plan, was presented to senior management for feedback, recommendation, and approval. During a town hall, the Director General announced and introduced the newly established Workplace Wellness Committee and presented the Not Myself Today campaign. Not long after that, an email was sent from the DG office to all employees, encouraging them to access a portal, set up their own confidential profile, explore the tools, and get learning. Presentations were then given to our group leaders, encouraging them to make good use of modules, the resources, the activities provided in the campaign, and share at their group meetings. We then tackle the building awareness. How we built awareness? We decided to email every Tuesday morning the Not Myself Today tip of the week to all employees. A Friday info page, which consists of some tips and resources from the learning modules, was initiated and sent to all employees each Friday morning. A wellness quarterly newsletter was also initiated and distributed. Physical posters were installed in the hallways at the office to bring additional awareness to those going on site to work. Fun and interactive mental health awareness quizzes were created. And we are now in the process of making the best of MS Teams by creating a channel for workplace wellness and making resources available there for employees. We also make the best of the NRC internal newsletter by including regular articles promoting our initiatives. We also take advantage of events such as the Bell Let's Talk Day and Mental Health Awareness Week to again promote our initiatives. Once it's established, then what? You repeat, you repeat, you repeat. Repeat the message, the visuals, the videos, the dialogue. Reach out to your ambassadors and co-workers for inspiration, ideas, and help. Keep things interactive, fun, and positive as much as possible. And remind senior management and leaders to walk the talk and lead by example. After a few months, a reminder email was sent to all employees redirecting them to the Not Myself Today portal and encourage them to make good use of resources and tools. It's not easy to implement culture change or to get people engaged, especially during these difficult times and being limited to mostly virtual tools. Just keep repeating and keep reminding. Evaluate, take a step back. After a few months of hard work, it's a good idea to take a step back and evaluate what's been done so far. Use a survey, small group discussions, suggestion box, feedback forms. After you reach your goals, is it working? Not working? Anything needs to be changed? What about your ambassadors? Are they engaged? Is senior management leading by example? It's also important to get to know your audience. What are the mental health wellness needs, interests, and concerns? We did a survey after 6 months with all of the employees and got some feedback on Tuesday tip of the week emails. I wanted to know, are they reading it? Do they like it? Do they want it to continue? So we got the stats. 77% said, keep it coming. I enjoy receiving the tip of the week. For the Friday Wellness Info page, again, 74%, keep it coming. I enjoy receiving the Friday Info page. So the feedback is very important. Some of the positive and encouraging feedback we receive are much greater than the negatives one. Don't get me wrong, you will get some negative feedback. Some people don't want any of this information. They don't want to be part of it, and that's okay. That's their decision. We have to respect that. I am grateful for Not Myself Today. The Not Myself Today campaign was the icebreaker we needed to introduce, address, and normalize mental health into our workplace. It helped break down some of the stigma surrounding mental health, change the way people approach and interpret mental health, and normalize the conversation on mental health. The campaign also prompted us to emphasize the need for respect and empathy in the workplace, and to address topics such as bullying, harassment, stigma, and making assumptions. It continuously provides tools and resources to better educate and equip our team. And lastly, my advice to all of you, don't give up. Many times I felt like giving up. I just wanted to take everything and just run away. But when I feel like giving up, my boss always says to me, every time you get discouraged, stop it. The impact you've already made and the changes you have brought is huge. Yes, at times you might get discouraged at how difficult it can be to change culture in the workplace, how tricky it can be to get ambassadors and employees engaged, how much work is still needed to break the stigma on mental health, or to reach a point where employees feel comfortable having open conversations on mental health, or feel supported enough to seek help if needed. Don't give up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvie. That was amazing. I absolutely love how you engaged and sold leadership on it, and you having them walk the walk. I also love everything you said about ambassadors. They are key. And I do have a question for you, though. How often do you engage your ambassadors, and what does that look like when you do?
My boss taught me how to keep ambassadors engaged and how to reach them. And at first it was very hard, and I felt very discouraged, and I just wanted to just forget about the ambassadors and just run with it myself and get things done. Everything, it was just too slow for me. And she showed me how to get them involved, how to listen to them, the ambassadors, how to reach out and get their ideas and take a step back and let the ambassadors as a committee lead this initiative. And she recommended me because I was really getting discouraged because it was hard. And she recommended a book for me to read. And it was the strangest book I have ever read in my life, but it was so useful. And I still read it and refer to it. And it's called Our Iceberg is Melting. And it's about how to get a team engaged and working together. So it was very helpful. But and to how often do we communicate? We meet once a month and exchange ideas and go from there on decide what we want to accomplish next. So we work as a team now rather than just a solo person.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, one thing I just wanted to offer comment on it, Sylvie, is your comment about how overwhelming it can be when you first get access to the tools and, you know, all the different variety that we have. And Louise and I know that the whole notion of creating a good plan can be overwhelming when you're looking at, you know, what do I do first? Where do I start? One of the things that Louise and I have done is spent some time, and you know, it's interesting that both Dory and Sylvie mentioned the whole notion of a plan. And what we've done is taken some steps to make things much easier for you as Not Myself Today leaders. And we've actually taken each one of the learning modules and we've created like a sample 10-week deployment plan. Week 1, watch this video, have this discussion. Week 2. So we've sort of taken all the materials and simplified them for you. And if you're interested to receive a copy of those, they're not on our portal yet, but you can just reach out to either Louise or I, and we'd be happy to share that information with you if it helps your job to be a little easier.
That's
Thank
perfect.
you,
That's
Sylvie.
great. Thank you. That's great to know.
Now, our last speaker, I would like to introduce you to Marie-Josée Bouleris from the Office of the Auditor General of Canada. Marie-Josée is the Wellness Officer where she develops, implements, and monitors OAG well-being initiatives, including the implementation of their mental health strategy. Marie-Josée joined OAG in November of 2019 with a background in mental health as a health promoter. During her 13 years as a health promoter, she developed strong knowledge and experience in substance misuses, tobacco cessation counseling, and in building a comprehensive mental health strategy for the community. So I'd like to welcome Marie-Josée to the mic.
Hi, thank you. Thank you everyone to be here. And thank you Louise and Heather for organizing this community of practice. So my name is Marie-Josée. I'm just gonna talk to you briefly about our organization. So basically, the OAG, the Office of Auditor General of Canada, is a medium-sized agency. So we are about 700 employees, and the head office is in Ottawa, and we have 4 regional offices coast to coast. What basically we do, we conduct audits and studies, and we provide information and advice to Parliament, government, boards of crowns corporation, and also Canadian. Our employees are mostly professional auditors, of course, in finance and also in performance area. And we also have corporate services, which is more support staff, such as lawyers, HR, admin, etc. So next slide. Before introducing the Not Myself Today at the OAG, we were looking for a program or initiative to provide employees tools to address mental health matters in the workplace. And at the same time, we were also looking for something that would align with our mental health strategy. So therefore, the Not Myself Today was a perfect match. Our general impression of the program was that the portal is very easy to navigate, really good information, colorful and easy to read information. And also it was a great way to connect with members of our organization because we are all virtual. So we were missing those kind of connections. So we were really thankful for Not Myself to bring some social aspect during team meetings. And also ambassador really feel that they make an impact and they make a difference with their colleagues. So because mental health is very personal, I didn't want to impose the role of ambassador to anyone. So therefore, I decided to make a call-out email to the whole organization. And only those who were interested were recruited. And I was looking for team members. Oh, just go back just for 1 sec. So we were. I was looking for yes. So I was looking for ambassadors from different teams and also different teams level. So in total, we had 65 ambassadors who shown interest. Next slide. So it was also vital for me to have the buy-in from senior management just to ensure the commitment and also engaging employee. The involvement is a signal to employee that mental health is very important and it's also a priority for the office. So the initiative was presented to the mental health champion, the executive, the management executive committees, director, managers, even the health and safety committees. My goal was to everybody to understand the program, but also to believe in the program so they can engage employees. The organization also nominated 2 executive management to be the co-sponsors. So those 2 people were, and they are still, really respected by all staff. And they also, there are people who are walking, or they walk the talk. So their main role as a co-sponsor is to support the ambassadors and also encourage all staff to participate in the activities that we are planning. Next slide. So all through the year, we did some launches, mini launches, just to keep the momentum going, to generate enthusiasm. And if we go on the next slide, I'll just show you what mini virtual blitz activity that was completed. It will be easier to show you instead of at the same time. So the first one that you see is the virtual graffiti wall. So basically, we purchased a digital card where staff was invited to sign their name and to add a little tips on how they reduce their stress. The second activity that was completed as a mini launch was the happiness challenge. The happiness challenge is a 15 days to retrain our brain to be more positive and to protect our mental health at work, but also in our personal lives. And of course, we at every mini blitz, we also promoted the wonderful webinar on the Not Myself Today portal. Next slide. So communication is very important to me. With my ambassador, I created a email list, so it was easier for us to connect. And also when MS Team was introduced in our organization, I did a channel so we can share some news and some to bounce ideas and stuff like that. And every 10 to 12 weeks, I also organized a ambassador meeting. So it was a bit more formal, where in the meeting I was introducing the new module. All ambassadors were provided with a bilingual presentation of a summary of the module, and also a few icebreaker activities. It was mentioned by a few employees and ambassadors that they need some tools to engage their team, since we were all virtual. So one of the tools that I shared with them was the Pull Everywhere platform. So it's similar to Slido. So I created an account for the ambassador, and there were pre-made questions for them. So it was easy for them just to take that platform and run with it. I was also, and I'm still working a lot with the communication team, so they know best how to engage employees. And whenever it's appropriate, Not Myself Today is included in corporate messages or in videos that the AG is doing on a regular basis. Next slide. So after 6 months in their role as ambassadors, I conducted a survey among them just to see how they were doing, and also to receive some constructive feedback. And the biggest challenge was it's the workload. So ambassador shared that they didn't have enough time to prepare and lead the activities. So therefore, I decided to create more PowerPoint games for them. So at least it was less prep time for them. And it also reflects the Not Myself Today module that we were in. So those are just 3 icebreakers that we made. Next slide. So since COVID, all the office is working at home. We are going at the office only by exception only. So therefore, Not Myself Today really made a big difference in our workplace, because since we're all working from home, we don't have any small coffee chat in the kitchenette, or there's no short conversation in the hallway or stuff like that. So that's why Not Myself Today is a great way to bring mental health topic in the meetings. And also having a program like this, well, it's a great way for the OAG to show their position on employee wellness. And it's also a great way to encourage dialogue in this in this important topic. Next slide. Of course, with all great project comes with challenges, right? And one of the biggest challenges that we are facing, I mentioned earlier, is time management. Ambassadors feel that it's an extra task for them. And at the same time, they felt that it was a bit not as structured as they wanted. So therefore, this time around, like Heather was mentioning, all ambassadors will be provided with a broke down weekly schedule for them for each module. I think this will help a lot. And also, given the nature of the topic, it is sometimes difficult to talk openly and to share ideas. So ambassador felt sometimes that the team members didn't really share any feedback, or they have like difficult to engage their team. But we have to mention that this is not a issue that is isolated to Not Myself Today. It's an office issue, but we are working a lot on it. So, and since we introduced the Not Myself Today, this really helped. So, and every week we have also a mental health week that is popping out on our desktop, and this is a great reminder also to open up the conversation on mental health. And to finish, I just want to say that I'm really a fan of Not Myself Today because we all have a mental health, and we need to take care of it as the same way as we do for our physical health. And I think this is really important. Oh, and I just forgot to mention that this time around I did a second recruitment, and there's a bit less ambassador than before. So therefore, what we're going to do is we're going to change this up a bit. So we will host more fireside chat session on mental health topics. So at least Not Myself Today will be promoted again during all the year. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I love what you've done with the gamification. Super creative and engaging. And I also like it that you're helping support the ambassadors, taking a bit of the lift of the load of work off them. The piece you did with co-sponsors, is it the same co-sponsors you've had all along?
Yes. So the co-sponsor agreed to renew for a second year. So we're going to keep the co-sponsors with our program, and they are very keen also. For example, in September when we did a mini blitz, they agreed to do like a video just encouraging employee to log in and to visit the portal to participate in the activities. So they are very great.
And where do you post that video then, Marie-Josée?
Well, it's an email that we are receiving. So we are receiving a link, and all employee has access to that video.
Excellent.
And it's also,
well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Marie-Josée. Now it's your time, Not Myself Today clients, to ask questions of our panelists. If you have questions, we can unmute your mic and you can ask away. Any questions for Dory, for Sylvie, or Marie-Josée? Louise, are you able to monitor that?
Yes, I am. So put up your hand and I will go through and see. Or if you're not comfortable with that, put a question in the question box and I will read it out for you. How does that sound? Marie-Josée, I just wanted to ask you about your digital engagement. How does it look? Do you have good digital engagement?
Yes. So it's basically, I use PowerPoint a lot with animation. So, and everything is digital. Unfortunately, that's the only downfall. I didn't go to the office, so I don't have access to all the physical tool. So I'm missing a lot the posters and the physical tools. So we are taking advantage of the digital tools such as the quizzes or even the PDF working sheets. I ask ambassador if after each module they can send the PDF to their teammates. At least it's a reminder for them to log in to the portal.
Awesome. Lots of great comments coming in, thanking you guys for sharing what you've done. A number of questions about people asking if they can have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. So we will need to ask permission of our presenters to share it. The other thing is somebody has asked you, what was the platform that you used, that you brought a card for and supplied, something for the teams to use, Marie-Josée? What was that platform? It was something like Slido, I believe, but it wasn't Slido.
Oh yes, it's a Poll Everywhere.
Poll Everywhere, thank you.
Everywhere. Yes, and the thing I like about Poll Everywhere, it's free. if it's less than 25 people, I think. And and my ambassadors, we all share the same account, and we can pre-made the questions, so it stays there as long as we want, and it's very easy to use.
Thank you. I've had a great question here. Sorry, one of the questions that's come in is, what are the unique challenges that you are experiencing rolling out this program during a pandemic? Who would like to take that question on?
Let's do one each. Dory, could we start with you? Unique challenges rolling out during the pandemic. Sylvie, did you want to maybe address that?
Yeah, sure. What I found difficult is during the pandemic is we only have like so many options and tools that we can use, and one of them is emails. And how do you a challenge was that how do you convey the message and how do you get people to engage without bombarding them with emails and without feeling like you're just bugging people. So doing different kinds of activities and leaving it to them to engage whenever they feel like, you know, it's time for them to do, and checking in also with their group leaders to see how their team is doing and if they are taking advantage of the information and the tools and the creating their access on the portal, their account on the portal and using it. So we check with the group leaders, and doing quizzes and questionnaires also helps because it gives you an idea of where you stand. So, but I have to admit, doing it only virtually is very difficult. But I think at first it was harder. Now we're getting the hang of it, and we learn. And I think it's becoming a new normal. So we're doing good. We're doing good.
Thank you. Marie-Josée, anything to add to that?
So much.
No, but I agree with Sylvie. It was harder at first than it is right now. I think, like Sylvie was saying, and it's hard a bit for me to compare just because I never run the program with the physical tools, so I don't have anything to compare. But yeah, we are always looking for a different way to engage instead of just reaching out by email. We are at the OAG, we are using a lot the intranet. Sometimes we do have like mini polls that we are using, and we are also using MS Team more and more. So at least this is less intrusive than always sending emails.
And Marie-Josée, I always love your creativity when you're introducing like new ways to get the message across and just utilizing some of these additional services that you've been subscribing to. Do you find that that's really had an impact with a level of engagement by using your creativity in that way?
I think so, and because it's hard to say, but what I heard from Ambassador is they are using the game, they are using, it's easier for them to introduce the modules. So, and the feedback that I received from the survey that I did with them, it's that's what they were saying, like having games, having quizzes, it's always easier to open the door to a conversation.
Wonderful. We learn a lot from our clients. Sorry, Louise.
Marie-Josée, somebody has asked what platform you use to create your virtual graffiti wall.
It's group meet, I think. I can maybe send you it's just Google a digital card, and it's the first one. Unfortunately, it's not Canadian, it's American, but it's not very expensive, and you can add as many pages as you want, and you can create your cover the way that you want. So I just asked Graphic to take some little bananas from Not Myself Today, and we create the question, and I just copy paste, and it's easy.
Thank you so much. Annie has asked how you guys use the worksheets, the cognitive behavioral worksheets available on Not Myself Today. Heather, do you want to jump in on that one first?
Well, yeah, I'm more than happy to. I think the key with the CBT worksheets, and they are for some of your automatic negative thoughts and for stress in the workplace. The key there is to just make sure employees know that these are available to them. You can't really utilize them, in my opinion, or insist that employees, take this test or do this assessment, because that's very personal to each employee. But as long as you're going through the icebreaker learning and you make reference as a leader or an ambassador to employees to say, if any of you are experiencing excessive stress, there is this worksheet that you can use to help build resilience, to reframe your negative thinking. Just keep it more open and elective as opposed to prescriptive. And employees will engage when they are comfortable to engage with that tool. So it's not something that you can prescribe, but rather something that you would make available to them.
Thank you.
Sylvie or Marie-Josée?
And that's what I usually do when we meet for the ambassador meeting. I'm presenting the topic, and I also refer them to PDF. And it depends on teams. So if teams are interested to know more, I always refer them to the PDF, and they can send it by email or refer them by and refer them to the portal. And I just found out, I did a quick search for my digital card. It was groupmeeting.com.
Okay. We have time for maybe one more question, and then we're going to close. And we just got an apology text from Dory. Somehow she got kicked off the webinar and can't get back in. So it's just the small group of us now. Is there another question, Louise?
I'm going to unmute Paula because she has a question she would like. So Paula, you are unmuted. Go ahead with your question.
I have lots of questions, but I'll keep it quick and short. And unfortunately, they were specifically to when Doria was speaking, but that's okay. The others can probably answer as well. We've talked a lot about communications, or you have talked a lot about communications and getting them out to people. Is that mostly through the platform? For example, if you are sharing a video, is that through the platform, or is that through messaging out via email, or some other avenue?
Well, I can answer that to start. For us at SD Tech, we tend to reach out first to the group leaders because they're in charge of their groups of researchers, and we bring awareness to a certain module, let's say, and ask them to look at a video that's in the module by sharing their screen. So we do it like that. And also when we have management meetings at which all the group leaders are participating, we pick a topic and show a video and encourage them in the next couple of months to share it with their groups as well. So, but usually we invite them to go to the portal to log in and view the video there. Our groups are less into the games and more into discussions and videos. That's what they prefer. So
Thank you, Sylvie. Our company is on a much smaller scale than the three of the companies here today. And so, and a lot of our people work on the manufacturing floor. So I'm just trying to find creative ways. So what you are doing sounds fantastic. I'll just have to keep looking for a way to engage our people that are on the floor in the manufacturing facility. Thank you so much.
Can I just interject here? Our time is done, but we do have an extra 10 minutes or so that we can go beyond the finish time. So any of you, we've got a number of people that have got their hands up. So if you guys just want to stay on the line and we can address your questions in a few moments, I'm just going to make a couple of closing remarks. And those who have to leave right away, feel free to do so. But those who want to stay on, you're welcome to. So I just want to give a special thanks to our presenters for sharing their experiences. Louise and I tend to get up on our soapboxes every single day, and it's just so wonderful to hear our clients just coming back and really aligning with best practices, even creating some new best practices that we tend to love hearing about and embracing. And they're really stepping up to make a difference within their workplace, as all of you are who are attending this webinar. So we want to thank you very much for attending our first Community of Practice webinar. And wanted to mention just one quick little thing is that when you leave the webinar, you will be asked to answer a few tiny little questions about this community of practice. It's our hope that we'd be able to continue with this on a fairly regular basis, but your feedback is really what's going to guide us in terms of what this is going to look like. So if you'd be so kind as to take a moment and do that poll, we'd appreciate it. And we'd also, on behalf of Louise and I, like to reach out to all of you on this webinar and say, is this something that would be of interest for you? Would you like to be a panelist in one of our future community of practices? If so, we would love to have a discussion with you and see if that makes sense for everyone. So that being said, I'm going to close off now with a great big thank you for all of you to attend. And I'll ask those who want to stay on for more questions to please do so. Louise, any closing comments?
I want to thank everybody too. This is amazing. We have so much interest online. Emmanuel, I'm going to unmute can you unmute yourself and ask your question if you're still available? Because you've been waiting for 34 minutes to ask a question. Oh. There's so much coming in here. So there's such a great interest. So Emmanuel, if you don't mind unmuting, go for it. Thank you for being patient.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I just want to thank everyone. This was a great opportunity to listen to what you've done. I'm newer to my role. Not Myself Today was launched before I came, but what I'm particularly curious about is the presenters. I mean, you all mentioned about getting leadership engagement and getting them on board and co-sponsorship and that sort of thing. And I'm just really curious, what does that look like? Like, how do they show their engagement? How are they showing their involvement with Not Myself Today?
I can maybe start if you don't mind. Well, how does it show? It's showing like at many occasions. If I take an example for Christmas, we all knew that Christmas was not like a year before. The year before, so it was mentioned, if you need help or here the resources of Not Myself Today can help you with isolation and stuff like that. And every time that we have for example a video from our AG, she is mentioning about Not Myself Today and remind employee to take advantage of the resources. So for me, this is a really good sign of engagement because they believe in the program and they are promoting it. And also, Every Tuesday, we have a free zone, a free no meeting zone. And it was also mentioned at first, if you want to take time for yourself and visit the portal, please do so during that Tuesday no meeting zone to take advantage of that time. So little action like that, it's a sign of engagement on behalf of the senior management.
And for us, if I can just add to what Marie-Josée was saying, the leaders, the senior management and the senior leaders, they are very positive and supportive of Not Myself Today and mental health. And it is mentioned at every meeting that we have with the staff. It's mentioned, it's brought up again at town halls. It's like I said in my presentation, you have to remind and repeat all the time. And even my boss, I will remind her, don't forget, you have to mention it, you have to say it again. And so that's how it's, and every time we start a meeting, we ask everyone, how are you doing today? And say it in a way that shows that you actually care and you actually want the real answer, not just I'm okay. No, really, how are you doing today? So we've made some changes like that to how we approach our meetings and how we start our meetings and how we end our meeting, by saying to everybody to take care of themselves and don't forget to take breaks and take care of their mental health. So that's how we, senior leaders, they care and they're engaged.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emmanuel. A question has come in online. It says, I work in a difficult industry to engage construction, engineering, and most of us are already overworked. So I've been able to get 4 ambassadors, but I'm finding I have to do most of it myself. What should my priorities be for engagement? I'm an executive assistant, so this is extra work for me too, but I think it's extremely important, and it is. So what are your thoughts about what the priorities should be?
I have to say, I felt the same way. I'm also an executive assistant, and workplace wellness was my volunteer work, my evening job. So I understand what this person is saying. Don't go at it alone. Be patient. Reach out to your ambassadors. Work with the ones that at first are more willing to engage and put in the time and the energy that it takes. And the other ones will come and they will follow eventually. It takes time. Don't rush it. And just don't give up, because it will pay off with time.
And I really do think that if you can get senior leadership involved, that's going to make that heavy lift a lot lighter for you. What we've found in dealing with organizations all across the country is most senior leaders really want to embrace the topic of mental health. And if you're, an admin assistant and you're trying to get traction throughout your organization, it may not necessarily have the same impact as a senior leader saying, hey, at our organization, we are taking mental health very seriously, and we want to make sure that all of you engage with the Not Myself Today materials. So that level of engagement at the senior level is very, very important as well. I see what you mean, Louise. There's lots of questions here. Just sort of sorting through.
Our presenters open to us connecting with them directly to ask any questions we may have, which we knew would come up, didn't we?
We'll leave that as a definite maybe for now. We'll talk to our presenters and not put them on the spot. They tend to be very open to share. It's just a question of available time, right? In the meantime, feel free to reach out to Louise or I, and we can certainly be that proxy until we can establish an element of contact for you all.
We're also being asked here, does your workplace have a budget that's applied to this initiative?
For us, besides the budget to be a client of Not Myself today, we have no budget assigned for this. So everything is done through interaction, through communication, through reaching out to the people. But no, we don't.
It's the same thing for us at the OEG. We don't have a specific budget. It's just we are purchasing the Not Myself today, and we go from there. We're trying to do it ourselves internally.
Another question has come in. How are your ambassadors dealing with negative pushback, though a small percentage, throughout the rollout of this program? And are there any examples of how feedback like this is managed?
If I can speak on behalf of our ambassadors, we didn't really receive any negative feedback, but the most challenged situation was no feedback at all, or no interaction, or no engagement. And this is something that the ambassador really brought as a challenge. They are feeling that they are talking to themselves most of the time, and not most, but a few teams doesn't open up their camera. So one thing that I mentioned to them, it's to put on the camera. It helps, and don't be afraid to call out the person if you do have and introduce it at the beginning of your meeting. Okay, this is going to be an interactive meeting, so please, you have to participate, and you just call out people during the meeting, and I think it helps. So I think it's getting better.
Yes, I agree with what Marie-Josée said. It's mostly not negative comments, but silence and people not interacting. And as I said before, it takes time, and it takes to repeat. And at first, when we first started and when we first launched, this was all new, and it was all foreign to everybody. And it was something, mental health, it was something that they just wanted to stay away from it. But so many months later, like 9 months, 10 months into the program, there's more interaction, and there's more engagement, and it's easier. So don't give up. It's going to take time, but you'll get there. They will use the tools, they will learn, and it will become part of their conversation.
And that's a really good point. I think, when we're talking about changing workplace culture, which is really what the program is all about, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a week. It doesn't happen in a month. It's something that needs to be sustainable over time. So we all start from where we're at, and we just, need to be patient as we await progress to start happening. But I think the key thing is what you both articulated, is that it just takes tenacity. Just keep at it, and you're chipping away at that iceberg. And just like Sylvie's little slide there, we're just about to chip through to all those diamonds on the other side. But it's the time requirement that causes and catalyzes culture transformation that can make you feel like you're not succeeding when really, truly you are. Right? Is that a fair statement?
It is a fair statement.
Paulette asks, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say it is a fair statement, and also all your small wins and your small accomplishments, like celebrate them because they're huge. They're small steps, but huge accomplishments and huge wins.
Paulette is asking how you cover employee time without budget because their work site has to assign all work time to charge numbers. So I guess it doesn't really, that's not really relevant to your workplace.
So if I understand the question correctly, at the OAG, we have a time code for all wellness resources or wellness activities. So we are encouraging employees, ambassadors to use that code whenever they are visiting the portal or they are doing an activity. Whether it's Not Myself Today or EAP or LifeSpeak or any kind of wellness resources, they do have a time code for it.
I think we've covered up all of the questions now. Thank you.
We have.
All right, thank you for hosting this event.
Special thank you to our presenters. You guys rock. Dory, we missed you for the last 20 minutes. and thank you all. If there's any follow-ups, feel free to reach out to Louise or I, and we're happy to provide you with anything that we can. So thank you. Happy Mental Health Week. And we'll look forward to future engagement. Don't forget about the poll. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Are we staying on or are we leaving?
On for a bit.